Hello, everyone. In this session, we are going to cover check payment via payment form. As the name suggests, in this session, you will learn how to make check payments using the payment form in the Onfinity system. The payment form in Onfinity can be used for both payments and receipts. There are different types of payments you can make against open orders, invoices, or GL journals. You can make receipts using checks, record cash payments, or perform bank transfers from one bank to another. There are multiple business functions that can be performed using the payment form. In this training session, we will focus on how to make check payments using the payment form. Training objectives. By the end of the session, you will be able to record customer payments against open orders with or without check printing options. Apply check payments to open invoices, orders, and vendor accounts effectively. Manage partial payments, such as when you are paying only part of the invoice amount. Handle multiple allocations, where a single payment is applied to multiple invoices or schedules. Make payments against memos. This session will enhance your accuracy and efficiency in handling check transactions in the Onfinity system. Prerequisites. Before using the payment form for check payments, ensure the following configurations are set up in the system. Bank account with check printing enabled. The bank account used for check payments must have check printing enabled. A valid check format template should be configured and linked to that bank account. Valid vendor with open payable invoices. There must be a valid vendor with open invoices, purchase orders, or GL journal entries available for payment. You cannot make check payments for vendors with no open invoices. Necessary user permissions. The user must have the required permissions for payment processing and check printing in the system. In the Onfinity system, check payments recorded through the payment form can be applied in the following ways: against invoices, against purchase or sales orders, against GL journals. Normally, in the AP payment screen, payments can be made using methods such as check, credit card, or other non-cash options. However, using the payment form is more convenient because it allows users to perform multiple payment-related functions in a single screen, with or without check printing. Therefore, the payment form is the preferred and most versatile platform for managing payments and receipts in Onfinity. In this training session, we will cover the following business scenarios: invoice settlement, making payments against open invoices; partial payments, paying part of the total invoice amount; multiple allocations, paying multiple invoices with a single check; memo payments, handling payments or returns against memos. Now moving to the Onfinity system. I have entered my credentials and clicked on the Login button. Since this is the first video on the payment form, let me explain it briefly. This form allows you to perform multiple business functions related to payments and receipts. The payment form is divided into three main sections. Filter section. This section contains filter parameters that control the data displayed below. Open orders, open invoices, GL journals section displays filtered records based on your selected parameters. Details section shows details such as bank balances, cash book, and payment method options. Under current receivables, you can view all open sales orders, AR invoices, and GL journals for which payments have not yet been received. Under current payables, you can view all open purchase orders and AP invoices that are not yet paid. For orders, it shows the order schedules, and for invoices, it displays the unpaid invoices. When you select any record, the amount appears in the base currency. You can search for a specific document using the document number or the business partner name. The next section displays bank details. For example, you can view balances for bank accounts in different currencies, such as Euro or INR, along with their reconciled and unreconciled amounts. Similarly, the cash book section shows all open balances. You can click the refresh icon to update the form data. This payment form serves as a single, convenient platform to handle multiple business scenarios. You can make and receive payments, use different payment methods such as check, cash, or batch payments, and even split schedules if required, for managing payments and receipts. The toolbar includes several options. Check, to record payments or receipts through checks. Cash, to handle cash payments or receipts. Batch payment, to process payments in batches, either based on selected records or system rules. Split schedule, to split any existing payment or receipt schedule. Manual payment, to record independent payments or receipts that are not linked to invoices, orders, or journals. Bank transfer, to transfer amounts between different bank accounts. In this training session, we will focus on check payables, where payments are made to vendors using checks. To begin, click on Current Payables to view all open AP invoices and purchase orders. Select an invoice or order schedule against which you want to make the payment. Here, I have selected an invoice schedule. Let's verify the invoice details first. You can open the invoice and navigate to the Payment Schedule section. Currently, the payment amount is 0, meaning it is not yet paid. Now, we'll make the payment using the payment form. After selecting the invoice schedule, click on the Check option. In the payment window, select the organization where the payment record will be created. Choose the document type, which will default to AP payment for payables. Select the bank and bank account from which the payment will be made. The system will display the account balance of the selected bank account. Next, choose the payment selection type, payment manually, if you do not want to print checks. Payment print, if you want to print the check after processing. We will first see how to make a manual payment. Enter the account date, date for accounting entries, and transaction date, actual transaction date. The currency type field is used when the invoice and bank account currencies differ. In our case, both are Indian rupees, so no conversion is required. Next, select the payment method as check. Enter the check number manually, then click OK. The payment is created successfully, and a document number is generated. To verify, open the AP payment screen. You will see the newly created payment with the status completed, showing the vendor name, invoice reference, and payment amount, 2,100 Indian rupees. When the payment is completed, the system automatically generates a view allocation document, which links the invoice and payment together. You can verify the linkage in the allocation document screen, where the payment and invoice references appear with their respective amounts. This completes the manual check payment process. Now, let's look at the process with check printing enabled. Select the invoice schedule again and click on Check. Select the bank account and choose Payment Print in the Payment Selection option. Enter the relevant details such as account date, transaction date, and currency type. Since this is a print payment, the check number will be picked automatically from the bank account setup. You cannot edit it manually in this case. After confirming all details, click OK. A preview form appears, showing the number of payments, the bank account, balance, payment method, check number, and currency. If all details are correct, click Print. Then click OK to continue. The system prints the check and creates the payment record. You can verify the payment document number and details, including check date and number bank name, payment, voucher number, invoice, reference vendor, name and amount paid. The payment is now completed and recorded in the system. You can verify it in the AP payment and allocation document screens. This is how check payments can be created and printed in the Onfinity system. You can also select multiple invoices to make batch check payments at once. Now, to process an advance payment, select the order option. This will display only the order schedules. Choose the order schedule against which you want to make the payment. You can also select multiple schedules, but for this example, we'll select just one. Before making the payment, let's review the order schedule to verify its impact after the payment is created. Here, we can see the selected order and its payment schedule, showing an amount of 1,523 rupees. Currently, no payment has been made, as shown in the paid amount column. Now, we will make the payment against this order schedule using the check option. After selecting the schedule, click on the check icon. In the payment window, select the following details. Organization and document type. It will be taken as AP payment. Bank and bank account from which the payment will be made. The account balance of the selected bank account will appear automatically. Note: check printing is not available for order schedules or journal schedules. It is only applicable to invoice schedules. Therefore, only the payment manually option will be available for this transaction. Enter the check number manually. Then click OK. The system creates the payment successfully. You can verify this in the AP payment screen. The payment will appear with the same vendor, the selected order schedule reference, and the amount of 1,523 rupees. In the payment schedule, the record will now show as paid, and a reference to the payment record will be added. No allocation document is created at this stage because allocations between orders and payments are generated only after the related AP invoice is created. Once the invoice is generated, the system automatically links the payment and invoice through the allocation document. Next, let's look at GL journal settlements, payments created against journals that have not yet been settled. Select the GL Journal tab, choose the record, and click on the check icon. Enter the required details such as organization, document type, bank, and bank account for GL journal payments. Only manual payment is allowed. Check printing is not supported. Enter the account date, transaction date, and currency type. If applicable, a discount can be entered, though it is typically not used for journal schedules. Enter the check number manually and click OK. The payment is now created successfully. You can verify the payment in the AP payment screen. This payment is independent. There is no linked invoice or order. The allocation document shows the connection between the payment and GL journal record. In the allocation document screen, you will find the latest entry showing the journal reference and payment reference. The payment appears as a negative amount because it represents an outgoing payment. When you open the GL journal record, you can see that although the payment does not modify the journal line itself, the system now shows that a payment has been generated against it. This demonstrates how the payment form can be used to make payments against GL journal entries as well. In cases where the bank account currency differs from the invoice schedule currency, the system supports multi-currency payments. For example, if your invoice is in Indian rupees and your bank account is in euros, the system automatically performs currency conversion based on the transaction date. To process such a payment, select the invoice schedule. Choose the organization, document type, bank, and a euro bank account. The system will display the converted amount in euros based on the exchange rate on the transaction date. If check printing is enabled for that bank account, you can also generate the printed check. If you receive a message such as "Process field is mandatory," ensure that the check print payment process is correctly configured in the bank account window. To verify this configuration, go to the bank screen. Open the bank account tab. Ensure that auto check number control is set to true. Ensure that the checkbook start and end numbers are defined. Bind the process field to check print payment. After saving these settings, go back to the payment form. Select the record again and proceed with check printing. When you click OK, the system will show the number of payments being created, the check number, and the converted amount in euros. For example, 20 euros and 18 cents. The payment voucher is generated with all details, including check number, amount, and currency. You can verify this in the AP payment screen. It shows the paid amount in euros and references the original Indian rupee invoice schedule. This is how multi-currency check payments are managed in the Onfinity system. Now let's look at partial payments, when only a portion of the invoice schedule amount is paid. To perform a partial payment, select the invoice schedule. Click on the check icon. Enter the organization, document type, bank, and bank account details. Select Payment manually and enter the check number manually. Enter the payment amount. This should be less than the total schedule amount. After clicking OK, the payment is created. When you check the AP payment screen, the payment will appear linked to the selected schedule with the partial amount. To verify the impact, open the related invoice record and refresh it. Navigate to the Payment Schedules tab. You will now see the original schedule, partially paid. A new schedule, automatically created by the system for the remaining unpaid amount. The paid schedule will show a reference to the payment record, while the unpaid schedule will display the outstanding amount as open. This is how partial payments can be recorded in the Onfinity system using the payment form. Now, here both vendors are different, which means two separate payments will be generated. In this case, whether you select payment check print or not depends on your choice. If you want the check printing, you can enable it. When we choose the print option, the check number consolidate field becomes read-only, meaning the system will automatically determine how the payments are created. After selecting the required options, click OK. The number of payments generated will be 2, since both business partners are different. Accordingly, 2 different check numbers will be assigned. For example, 0045 and 0046. Here, we can see that the system has generated 2 checks, one for each vendor, based on their invoice schedules. After the payments are created, you can click OK, and the system will generate payment vouchers for both schedules. This is how you can make payments against multiple schedules belonging to different business partners. If you have selected schedules belonging to the same business partner, here's how you can make the payment. Select the schedules against which you want to make the payment. For example, let's take 2 schedules for the same business partner, Brightech Innovations. After selecting both, click on the check icon. In the organization and document type fields, select the bank and the bank account. Now, under Payment Selection, you can see both schedules belonging to the same vendor. Here, under Payment Manually, you have 2 options. Create separate checks for each schedule by entering different check numbers. Consolidate both schedules into one payment by selecting the Consolidate Check option and entering a single check number. If you consolidate, the system will generate one payment record for both invoices. The payment record will show the total amount of both schedules. On the Allocation tab, you can verify the distribution of amounts for each schedule. For example, the allocated amounts for Schedule 1 and Schedule 2. Since both schedules belong to the same invoice, the document number will repeat. This demonstrates how a single payment can be made against multiple invoice schedules of the same business partner. Now let's see how this works with the check printing enabled. Select 2 schedules of the same business partner again. When we choose the Payment Print Export option, the system automatically assigns the check number. Simply click OK, and the system will generate a single payment covering both schedules. After confirming, you can print the check and verify the payment voucher, which shows references for both invoice schedules. The voucher displays the invoice numbers, paid amounts, and corresponding schedules. Here, a single check is used to pay multiple invoice schedules for the same business partner. Next, we'll discuss check bounce or dishonored checks. If a check bounces or the payment is invalid, you can reverse the payment record directly from the system. For example, if a payment, say, document number 104, was created against an invoice schedule, but is now invalid, simply reverse it. When you reverse the payment, the system automatically reverses the view allocation document. A reversal document is created in the system. You can verify the reversal in both the payment record and the view allocation screen. Once reversed, the invoice schedule becomes available again on the payment form, allowing you to recreate the payment if needed. You can also receive payments against credit memos. To do this, select the credit memo invoice schedule from the list. Click Check and select the organization and bank account. Since it is a credit memo, it will be treated as a receivable, meaning the amount will be added back to your account. For example, in case of a purchase return, you can choose to process it manually or via print/export mode based on your requirements. After selecting the check option and confirming, the system will validate that the memo value is not greater than the invoice value. If valid, click OK to complete the transaction. This way, you can receive payments against memos, and the system will automatically update the related accounts accordingly. Our next business scenario is bounced or dishonored checks. I've already explained how you can reverse payment records in such cases. Now, if you're making any return payments against a credit memo, it's important to understand how the system treats these transactions. When you make a payment against any invoice schedule using a check, the amount gets subtracted from your account. It's an outflow of funds. However, when there's a credit memo, it represents the opposite situation. You are receiving the amount back. If you try to process a credit memo using the check payment method, it will not be treated as a payment. Instead, it becomes a receivable, and the system will restrict check processing for it. Therefore, payments cannot be made against credit memos using checks. If you want to receive the amount for a credit memo, you can do so using the cash payment method instead. The reason for this restriction is simple. A check represents an outgoing payment. Since a credit memo implies receiving money, it cannot be processed as a negative check payment. If you attempt to enter a check number and click OK, the system will display an error message. The credit memo value is greater than the AP invoice. You can't create the AP payment. This message indicates that AP payments cannot be created against credit memos. This concludes our session on various business scenarios related to check payments using the payment form in the Onfinity ERP system. We covered how to make check payments for invoices and orders, handle multiple vendors and consolidated payments, manage partial and multi-currency payments, reverse bounced or dishonored checks, understand check restrictions for credit memos. Thank you for attending.